There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna, this one answers is going. This is from, excuse me, from Answers, volume 28, but this is written in volume 33. So it's a recap of Answers, which is a Lyceum talk of B.J. Palmer. And we're going to get going, and we're going to break it up into 3 sections today.
In Answers, volume 28, Palmer, 1952, in a pre-Lyceum talk, pages 152 to 153, we find the following. Innate has constructed over 30,000 miles of blood vessels. 1 pound of body fat supplies enough energy to lay 17,731 bricks, shovel 114,000 pounds of sand, or run 43 miles, which is one reason it is difficult to defeat innate by reducing fat by exercise. In the process of breathing while you sleep, innate raises bedclothes about 1,000 times an hour. Thus, if blankets weigh 5 pounds, for an 8-hour sleep, innate actually lifts 20 tons. Your heart does enough work to lift a 150-pound man to the top of a 3-story building. By time you are 70, innate has done enough work to lift largest battleship out of water. By that time, having beaten 2,500,000,000 times, heart will have pumped 61,500,000 gallons of blood, weighing 258,500 tons, enough to fill a pool 1 foot deep, 1 mile long, 1,553 feet wide, and then some people call the study of innate a cult. And some other people think pills necessary to stimulate, inhibit, or aid nature. If innate human brain dynamo could be externally and artificially built to generate all continuous normal quantity flow of mental impulse supply for a human body between birth and death, it would take a skyscraper to house it, power of Niagara Falls to run it, and all water of Niagara Falls to cool it. And the medical profession still overlooks innate's ability to cure cuts, heal bruises, and get sick people well. Some chiropractors too. If you'd like to venture into the realm of higher mathematics, try comparing the spinal cord to a telephone cable. A neurology instructor we know has a section of lead cable containing 380 pairs of 24-gauge copper wires to carry man-made messages both ways. It is approximately 2¼ inches in diameter. We wondered how big such a cable would have to be to contain the same number of wires as there are nerve fibers in the spinal cord, but we ran into a snag when we tried to pin the instructor down to the exact number of nerve fibers in the cord. It is known there are at least 16,500,000, but Krill reports there could be 400 trillion, and there are an estimated 14 trillion cells in the body also. The smaller number, 16,500,000, was easier to compute. According to our rusty mathematics, a telephone cable containing the same number of 24-gauge wires would be over 27.5 feet in diameter. Does any chiropractor conceive he is capable of fabricating a spinal cord which will precisely fit the spinal canal? Is the builder of this mightiest of all mighty productions a cult?
Wow, there's a lot there. Vero, I think maybe we should translate that section and then do this section afterwards to give you a little break. Sound good?
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Ok, en español estamos viendo ahora el capítulo 28. El título del capítulo es una elaboración. Esto ya previamente es de otro libro. Aquí dice que estaba en respuestas o answers, es el nombre, de un volumen anterior de 1952. Dice en una plática preliceo en las páginas 152 a 153 del volumen 28. Entonces se encuentra lo siguiente. Dice, el innato ha construido más de 30,000 millas de vasos sanguíneos. 1 libra de grasa corporal suministra suficiente energía para colocar 17,731 ladrillos, mover con una pala 114,000 libras de arena o correr 43 millas, siendo una razón por la cual es difícil vencer al innato al reducir la grasa con el ejercicio. En el proceso de respiración mientras duermes, el innato levanta las cobijas unas 1000 veces por hora. Así que, si la cobija pesa 5 libras por un sueño de 8 horas, el innato levanta 20 toneladas. Tu corazón hace suficiente trabajo para subir un hombre de 150 libras a la cima de un edificio de 3 pisos. Para cuando tienes 70, el innato ha hecho suficiente trabajo como para levantar sobre el agua el más grande buque de guerra. Para ese momento, habiendo latido 2.500 millones de veces, el corazón habrá bombeado 61.500.000 galones de sangre, pesando 258.500 toneladas, suficientes para llenar una piscina de 1 pie de profundidad, de 1 milla de longitud, de 1.553 pies de ancho. Y luego algunas personas llaman al estudio del innato un culto. Y algunos otros piensan que las pastillas son necesarias para estimular, inhibir o ayudar a la naturaleza. Si el dínamo del cerebro humano, del innato, pudiera ser construido externamente y artificialmente para generar toda la cantidad normal de flujo continuo de suministro de impulsos mentales para un cuerpo humano, entre el nacimiento y la muerte, tomaría un rascacielos para albergarlo, el poder de las cataratas del Niágara para ejecutarlo y toda el agua de las cataratas del Niágara para enfriarlo. Y la profesión médica todavía pasa por alto la habilidad del innato para curar cortadas, sanar moretones y sanar a la gente enferma. Algunos quiroprácticos también. Si te gustaría aventurarte dentro del reino de las matemáticas avanzadas, trata de comparar la médula espinal a un cable telefónico. Un instructor de neurología que conocemos tiene una sección de cable de plomo que contiene 380 pares de cables de cobre de calibre 24 para llevar mensajes hechos por el hombre en ambos sentidos. Tiene aproximadamente 2.25 pulgadas de diámetro. Nos preguntamos cuán grande tendrá que ser dicho cable para contener el mismo número de cables como las fibras nerviosas que hay en la médula espinal, pero nos encontramos con un inconveniente cuando intentamos pedirle al instructor un número exacto de fibras nerviosas en la médula. Es sabido que hay al menos 16.500.000, pero Creel reporta que pueden haber 400 trillones, y hay un estimado de 14 trillones de células en el cuerpo también. El número más pequeño, 16.500.000, era más fácil de tomar. De acuerdo con nuestras oxidadas matemáticas, un cable telefónico que contiene el mismo número de cables de calibre 24 sería más de 27,5 pies de diámetro. Algún quiropráctico concibe que él es capaz de fabricar una médula espinal que encaje precisamente en el canal espinal. ¿Es el constructor de estas producciones tan poderosas un culto?
That was great. I'm getting better at my Spanish when I'm reading and you're reading together. Thank you so much. I say we take a little time to discuss that, okay, before we move on to the next section. Because the same vocabulary BJ is saying now is happening in our profession now, and this is 1952. And people calling the philosophy a cult. But when we talk about the laws of science and the laws of physiology and innate intelligence running the show, it becomes obvious. How does everybody feel about that?
Si alguien tiene un comentario, dice como, bueno, lo que estaba escrito en 1952 es igualmente aplicable en estos tiempos. ¿Tienen algún comentario que también quisieran aportar en español?
You know, I remember back in the day when I was at Life, and this was before everyone had computers and stuff, we actually wrote stuff down, you know, notes. And, you know, typically you would just write really, really fast to whatever the instructor said. And I remember us being in obstetrics, I guess it was obstetrics, and, you know, learning how a baby was born and everything. And I just
We're losing your signal.
Because
there we go.
Oh, okay. So they would just put their pencils down because it hit people in the class of how amazing and they take 2 cells and make trillions of cells and make a body that you didn't even care about taking notes anymore. You were just absolutely sitting there in awe, and you look around and at least 50% of the class would not even be taking notes anymore. They would just be like sitting there with this look on their face. The body is, and that innate knows, and usually the less we do, the better off the patient's going to be. So that's what I got to say.
Bueno, estaba diciendo el doctor Luis que él recuerda cuando estaba en la universidad hace un tiempo y cómo estaban en la clase de obstetricia. Y bueno, decía que ellos anteriormente, antes de las computadoras y demás, estaban tomando notas así lo más rápido que pudieran, y que cuando empiezan a dar la clase y empiezan a explicar cómo de una célula se va multiplicando y se van haciendo millones de células, de repente voltea a ver a toda la clase, y inclusive él estaban ya o sea, estaban asombrados, ya no estaban tomando notas, ya no les importaba eso, porque estaban viendo como lo grande que era, cómo podía pasar ese milagro, ¿no? Todo ese proceso.
Very good. Anybody have any comments? Anyone want to say anything else?
¿Alguien más gusta aportar algo?
I'm going to mention just the simple things of healing a cut, digesting our food, getting sick people well. People heal from corona. They heal from a cut. They heal from it themselves. It doesn't take an external force. It's the internal, it's an internal job. It does it from within. It's not mentioning chiropractic in here, you realize. But the life that is expressed in the body, that's what's important.
Está comentando el doctor Haig que cómo podemos tomar las cosas tan simples como sanar una cortada o sanar a personas enfermas, cómo las personas se sanan ahorita en estos tiempos del coronavirus. Y dice que no es necesaria una fuerza que venga de afuera, sino que la sanación está desde adentro, que toma esa fuerza interna.
Okay, I'm going to start the second unless anybody has anything else.
One thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to put my feet in the moccasins of those that deny this intangible, unphysical part of the triune of life. And I think that if I've been rewarded since nursery school at getting the test grade 100 or a gold star, that in a subject that can't be known with that same Newtonian mechanistic view is threatening, because now I'm out of reward. So I'm just thinking, why is there this denial? So that I can walk in the shoes of my brothers and sisters who deny it. You know, why? And maybe I can be more compassionate. I'm complete.
Okay.
Bueno, estaba diciendo, no alcancé a escuchar muy bien, pero creo que estaba diciendo un poquito de cuando estaba en la escuela de enfermería, que le importaba cómo era lo importante sacar esa calificación perfecta, ¿no? Y era un poquito de... I'm sorry, Steven. You were in school, and I didn't get the part, the end part.
Children from an early age are rewarded with answering what's on the test, and so therefore they become rewarded for knowing the answers to mechanistic questions. But when it comes to innate and the non-physical, it's not something that you can quantify. And therefore, I'm just trying to understand and walk in the shoes of those who deny innate, because that must be threatening, because there's no way to know or prove it. And if I can't prove it, then I can't get that good grade on the test as a child and growing up. That which is not really taught in the mainstream is threatening. I'm trying to be more compassionate and understand those that deny innate and why.
Okay, got you. Thank you, Steve.
You got
Decía
it?
que, got it. Decía que, bueno, él veía eso, ¿no? De la calificación perfecta, pero está ahora como tratando de entender a esas personas que niegan la idea del innato, ya que ya cuando hablamos del innato es algo muy difícil de cuantificar. Ya no se puede buscar una calificación perfecta porque no es algo medible. Y entonces dice que él está tratando como de ponerse en los zapatos de estas personas que niegan la existencia de algo como el innato. Y bueno, tratar de ver por qué lo hacen o por qué lo ven de esta manera.
Hey, Shargel, your compassion makes you such a better person than me.
That's great.
El doctor Luis le dice un chiste al doctor Steven, ¿no? Que su compasión que está hablando en su comentario lo hace una mejor persona que él.
I would like to make a small point. The subluxation deniers does not mean they are without faith in God. Okay? Many of these people are very faithful people as well in many different religions. What I have come to realize is that they want to keep those things separated from the practice of chiropractic. And that you don't have to be religious to be in a chiropractic server, but they want to be purely on the physical plane. Pain relief, your pain is gone, your neck doesn't hurt. And that's what I've sort of gathered. At first I thought they were, it was an atheist group doing it, but I've come to realize that's not true.
Comenta el doctor Haig que bueno, están estos quiroprácticos, ¿no? Que no necesariamente tienen que ser religiosos. O sea, hay muchas personas con diferentes religiones en el medio, pero ellos quieren como mantener separada la quiropráctica y la religión. Ellos están como enfocados en la parte física, en cómo arreglar, quitar los dolores de cuello y ya, ¿no? Mantener separado una cosa de otra.
I'm going to take it one step farther. It's easier to communicate to the people the physical. My neck hurts, let me help your neck, than it is to the ethereal. I move the bone, God does the healing, or your body does the healing. That is a little more ethereal, and there's sometimes fear. And I think that's sort of going what Stephen said, of communicating that information.
Dice que es mucho más fácil como explicar o irse por el camino de lo físico, explicar, bueno, te duele aquí, ajusto, se quita el dolor, que empezar a explicar la parte etérea, donde le tienes que decir, bueno, yo voy a meter el ajuste, yo voy a hacer el movimiento, pero realmente Dios o tu interior es lo que lo va a sanar.
And I'm going to go one more step, is that I'm not the hero. I can't fix you. And a lot of people want to be that I'm the fixer. I can move the bone, and again, your body has to do the healing. My job really is done. So there's also, I feel a little self-esteem involved with that, or ego, some people want to call. But when we say just a simple thing, I move the bone, you do the healing, then who's the hero? But what I'd rather do is give confidence. I'd rather give the person, be their cheerleader than be their hero, if we want to look at it that sense. Do you follow that, Vero?
Yes. Dice que él no es el héroe, él solamente mueve el hueso y realmente el cuerpo hace la sanación. Dice que él prefiere ser como el porrista o la porrista, echarle porras, pero no ser el héroe, ¿no? Porque él va a ayudar a la persona, o sea, le va a hacer sentir esa seguridad, ¿no?
So Haig, take out the word religious, because you don't have to be religious to be a chiropractor, but do you have to be spiritual? Can you be a chiropractor, a good chiropractor, without having that spiritual component, which is kind of what we talked about last week? I don't know if you can.
Let's ask the group.
Let me just translate the question just real quick. Pregunta el doctor Luis que si, dejando de un lado la parte o la palabra religión, que si realmente lo que es necesario para ser un buen quiropráctico es ser espiritual. Si alguien quiere responder.
Okay, let's pose that to the group. What do people say? Anybody have any input?
Aldo, ¿quieres decir
Hey,
algo?
those guys.
He estado leyendo el Gita, el Bhagavad Gita, y también he tratado como de asimilar.
Aldo, casi no te escuchas, perdón.
¿Me escucha?
Ahora sí.
Sí.
No.
He estado leyendo el Gita, lo he estado comparando con la filosofía quiropráctica, y en sí lo que todos tratan de describir son estados del ser humano. El ser humano es más que un cuerpo y más que una mente, más que un cerebro, tiene una mente, y por lo que entiendo en diferentes culturas a la mente se le llamaba espíritu o tenía distintos conceptos, pero en sí creo que todos tratan de describir lo mismo, solo que utilizan diferentes términos. Entonces, no es ser espiritual o no, sino es conocer conocer el cuerpo humano en toda su expansión, o en todo su... Es que el ser humano es muy amplio, es muy profundo. Tiene conciencia, tiene mente, tiene pensamientos, tiene emociones, tiene sistema óseo, sistema esquelético, endocrino. O sea, es una maravilla. Solamente que el ser humano se ha confundido en el cerebro educado, se ha como enmarañado en el cerebro educado y no es capaz de conocer la mente, no es capaz de conocer el cerebro innato, la mente innata.
Aldo, perdón, lo que no escuché es, ¿has estado leyendo un libro? ¿Cómo se llama?
Bhagavad Gita.
The Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. So Aldo is saying that he's been reading that book, and he's trying to answer your question, Dr. Luis, and he said that there's many different states of the human. Is more than just a body. It's also like a mind, and then there's different ways around different religions or points of view that you can call this brain or this brain like spirits, but
Mind.
they all, the mind, but they all describe the same thing. It's not necessary to be spiritual, but you have to know the whole human body, because it is so complicated. So it has so many different things, like consciousness, thoughts, many systems, the mind, everything. And he says it's just like a wonderful thing. But through the years, the people has been confused with all of this educated mind, and is not able to know anymore what it is really like, the innate or the innate mind.
That's good information.
Qué bueno.
Que bueno. And the Bhagavad Gita is from Hindu philosophy, and it's a very important book in that religion. I have not read it, but I've watched readings of it, and very, very interesting. For me in chiropractic, at least having a respect for the things greater than our educated mind, let's put it in that sense, beyond the perception of what we see in the physical, I think is very important for the chiropractor. Because just yesterday I did another Green Book group with the group in Brazil, and one thing we talked about is my own mother, whose sciatic pain got worse and worse. And I tried to treat her pain because it's my mom. But what was happening, her kidney, which was, they called a small shriveled prune, hadn't functioned in nearly 50 years, was growing back to 8 centimeters and started functioning again at about 80 years old. If I was just in the physical, I may have stopped adjusting her when her innate was doing something bigger. See? That's the way I feel.
Bueno, comenta el doctor Haig que justamente, bueno, primero comentaba que en la parte quiropráctica lo que he aprendido es que hay que tener cierto respeto a la parte educada o a la mente educada, a lo que está en el plano físico, también eso es muy importante. Y comenta que justamente el día de ayer estaba teniendo una reunión con la gente en portugués, y que comentaron acerca de su mamá, cómo ella tenía un problema de ciática, y él estuvo tratando de ayudar, y cómo, bueno, entendí que tenía un problema en el riñón. Su riñón estaba de un tamaño muy pequeño, o sea, a través de los años había reducido en su tamaño, y cómo a los 80 años su riñón empezó a mejorar. ¿Cómo cambió esto, no? Entonces, you were saying that the last part, just that you were trying to fix her, but
I became a therapist in my mind trying to fix her pain. But then it stopped getting worse, and I said, let's get back to our philosophy and focus of who I really am, being a chiropractor.
Entonces dice que de repente él tenía ya el sentido, tratando obviamente con la intención de ayudar a su mamá, se volvió como terapeuta, y salió un poquito de la parte de lo que realmente es quiropráctica, ¿no? Y de repente se da cuenta de eso y dice, no, tengo que regresar a lo que realmente es quiropráctica, a la parte de filosofía, y es cuando entonces su mamá a los 80 años logra recuperarse y mejorar de esto.
And I'd like to add another point. We're going to start having these translated in subtitles in Portuguese. So this is going to be in 3 languages. Awesome.
Comenta que ahora también vamos a empezar a tener esto traducido al portugués con subtítulos.
Anybody have anything else? We move on to the next section.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the question, can somebody not be spiritual or religious and still practice chiropractic. What's happened is
take out religious, just go with spiritual.
Whatever. I'm saying both of them have taken the spiritual and separated it from the physical. And chiropractic's philosophy is the expression through the physical. There's no separation any more than there's, like, you got water in the form of clouds or steam, in the form of rain, and in the form of ice. Somewhere in our human history, we decided that ice has nothing to do with water or with steam. And that's what we call spiritual or religious. And our message as chiropractors is that it's neither, like BJ said, or no.
Let her catch up on that, because those are important points.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Steven. Just one quick question. What to say about could you repeat about the example about the clouds, the steam, and the ice?
Human beings in our evolution have taken the spiritual or religious and separated it, which is impossible. It's like saying that the ice is not water. It's a continuum.
Ok. Entonces, comenta el doctor Steven que, bueno, que es como imposible separar lo espiritual de lo físico. Comenta, bueno, que la filosofía de la quiropráctico es la expresión a través de uno, y da el ejemplo de cómo es imposible separarlo. Es como tratar de separar la conexión que hay entre, digamos, el vapor, el agua y el hielo, y decir que todo eso no es al final lo mismo.
That's a great example, Stephen.
And in the bigness of the fellow within, there was a chiropractor who, in April of 1949, which is exactly when I was born, his name was George Shears.
Yeah.
And in the bigness of the fellow within, he says that chiropractic is neither spiritual nor physical, but the combination of both, the expression of one through the other. So the idea is, can you be non-spiritual, or do you have to be spiritual? Spiritual is not separate from the physical.
Okay.
I'm complete.
Comenta que, bueno, había un quiropráctico, creo que dice John Shears, en abril de 1949, que, bueno, él decía que la quiropráctica necesita uno de la otra, es como la expresión de una dentro de la otra. No se puede separar lo espiritual de lo físico.
I just gotta.
And people think God is out there, even though Jesus Christ and others have said it's within.
The
But
kingdom of heaven is within.
Those that call themselves religious or spiritual, it's kind of like they've taken it and excluded it away from above, down, inside out, which is why I'm excited about chiropractic. Thank you.
Okay, dice, o hace referencia a que todavía la gente cree que está allá afuera, cuando se ha dicho o se conoce que Jesús dice que está dentro de nosotros, ¿no?
We've done a lot, and you know, I've got some suggestions. Lewis suggested we stick with that instead of going even to the next section, because we just did a lot of meaty work, philosophical work that I even need to chew on a little bit and let that digest. We did a lot of good work just now. But does everybody agree with that? Hands up.
Go with it.
Yeah.
Can I add something though?
Go ahead. Go. Yeah, of course.
I I feel as if it makes sense that you would say that the spiritual and the physical are one, but it doesn't make sense in this, why some chiropractors have a local effect, which to me means that their spirit and physical was separated at that moment, and others have a global effect on the system. And that, for example, people that typically people that don't see that they're working more than just relieving a system are going to have local effects. Like, you don't hear of them having the insane healing results that we see on our side. I think that the potential is there for the spiritual and physical to be one. But if you're not tapped into that spiritual, then is it really there during that time of the adjustment? And I also, even in myself, like if I'm having an off day, or if I'm not grounded or centered, and I go to deliver an impulse into someone's system, it is not the same thing as if I took the time to be clear and connected and tap into my spiritual before making a genuine connection.
But I would say that even probably the biggest mixers and non-spiritual people in our profession, they've probably had as well a couple of amazing miracles and spiritual things in their office. I think if you ask them, they may put it aside, but I bet even those people have probably seen some things, even though they're not tuned in, because it's all around us.
This is just a personal experience, and I really don't have a tendency to go to those offices, but my son was having an extremely bad cough, and it's been going on for over 3 months, and we would take him to the chiropractor, and I typically only go to chiropractors who are principled and grounded in spirit, and all of a sudden that night the cough is better, and it's not going there for the cough, but the cough is just a symptom of the fact that his nervous system is not clear. I was away, and my wife noticed, like, she's not 100% with what I'm learning, but she noticed that go to the chiropractor, his cough goes away. So she went to a random chiropractor who is not grounded in the principles, took him in. The guy took the activator, clicked up my 2-year-old's entire spine, and then came on both sides of the atlas, and his cough was the worst it has ever been, and it lasted 3 weeks like that, even though we then took him to get properly adjusted, and like the mucus and like just not being able to breathe, and it even caused a fever. So I don't know. I just had that one experience, and it kind of makes me want to stay away from anyone who's not in line with.
But also don't forget, BJ said sometimes you can hit them with a shovel in the ass and they'll get better. So
that was a couple of chapters ago.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get just a little bit from Vero and do some translating. It's hard to get all that, I know. Maybe you can sum it a little bit.
Okay. La primera parte, bueno, no escuchaba muy bien, se cortó un poquito, pero decía Junior que, a ver, denme un segundito. Bueno, decía que no se iba a tener el mismo efecto cuando uno trataba de atender los síntomas locales, no tendrían los mismos resultados. Él ponía un ejemplo que si a veces él tenía un día malo y no estaba como conectado, concentrado, sus ajustes no tenían el mismo efecto en sus pacientes, como otros días que él se sintiera pues más conectado. Luego comenta el doctor Luis que hay que también ver el punto de vista de que existen otros quiroprácticos que son tal vez más mixers y no tan espirituales, y que aún así en sus oficinas pasan ciertas cosas que pues sí son consideradas como espirituales en algunos, ¿no? Y bueno, luego nuevamente Junior comenta una experiencia que él tuvo con su hijo, donde él ya tenía un problema de una tos muy fuerte durante aproximadamente 3 meses y que él lo lleva con un quiropráctico, pues con un pensamiento más similar al de él, ¿no? Que tiene esta parte más centrada, más espiritual, y que inmediatamente su hijo mejora después de estos 3 meses de tener este problema. Pero comenta que tal vez su esposa no va tan de acuerdo a las ideas que él tiene, entonces entiendo que lo llevan con otro quiropráctico. Bueno, en una ocasión que él no estaba, lo llevan con otro quiropráctico, que pues con otro tipo de mentalidad que no era tan espiritual, podríamos decirlo, y ajustan a su hijo con activador, lo ajustan en Atlas, y que
Okay.
inmediatamente la tos se pone peor por las siguientes 3 semanas. Empieza con una tos peor, inclusive fiebre y demás. Y entonces dice que, bueno, él tiene como esa experiencia para compartir y con esa sola experiencia él ya realmente no le da ganas como de volver a intentar como ir con alguien tal vez con un pensamiento diferente, ¿no? Una manera de aplicar la quiropráctica con este otro punto de vista.
So I feel today's talk was about the something extra, right? I think that spirit is the something extra. And, you know, you are all the something extra because thank you. I mean, this was a beautiful day. We had a great talk today.
Dice que todos ustedes son como algo extra. Lo que obtuvimos el día de hoy como extra es la parte, todo lo que hablamos de la parte espiritual, y dice que todos ustedes son como algo extra.
And I want to say from the wonderful actress that did these readings for us, that was 3 minutes and 13 seconds. And we had a wonderful conversation about that. Absolutely beautiful. This is what chiropractic is and how we grow to be great servers in this profession. And I really appreciate everyone. Vero, I'll let you do that and then we'll end it, okay, if you want to translate that part.
Ok, dice que pues muchas gracias por estar aquí, que esta es la manera en que en que nos podemos volver mejores quiroprácticos. Y bueno, les agradece por estar aquí.
As much as I want to just get through this book, because I want to get to Dee Dee's 1914 is next on the list. That's why I want to read these chapters, but it's just such good philosophy we're doing right now. Anybody have? Go ahead.
Quiere llegar al libro, quiere como apurarse porque tiene muchas ganas de llegar al libro de Didi, el de 1914, pero hay tanta filosofía en esto que realmente tenemos que tomarla, ¿no?
Anybody have any closing statements or anything they'd like to say?
I like how when Shark finishes, he always says, "I'm complete." I'm going to use that from now on.
Yeah, I like that. I like it. Okay, so we're going to keep going every week. Okay, sound good for everybody? Invite your friends, send it around. We're getting a good group here. I see Season Shelling down there, my man. All right. Anybody else, anything? Oh, I have one more statement. Tonight, 7 p.m., we're doing our Band of Brothers Saturday Night live in my office, or we're going to do live stream from my page, my personal page. It's 7 p.m., which I think is 6 p.m. Mexico.
Dice o los invita a que el día de hoy van a hacer what's the name?
Our Band of Brothers, we call Philosophy and Fellowship is what we're doing.
Ok, están haciendo también en su página personal, van a hacer algo como de filosofía y hermandad.
Yes.
A las 7 de la tarde, hora del este, y hora de México, por si gustan también estar presentes, sería 6 de la tarde.
Okay. Anything else? Great meeting today. I love and appreciate you all. Awesome.
Gracias a todos por estar aquí.
If I don't see you tonight, I'll see you next week for sure.
Si no los ve esta noche, nos vemos la próxima semana.
Buenos días. Bye-bye.
Gracias.